following broadcast is a production of HCC TV.
Hi, I'm Justin Boyd.
Hi, I'm George Luna.
I'm Brittany Pacheco.
And I'm Frank Cooper.
And we are
The
Watchers in the Basement.
That boy worthy, y'all.
It's just a prop.
Dude, come on. Watchers, assemble! Welcome to the Watchers in the Basement. We are coming to you from the Main Street Studios here at HCC TV. And usually...
Justin,
Yeah, what's up?
I'm going to stop you.
You're interrupting me. I'm doing the intro.
I
here.
realize that, but there's
Yeah.
a reason.
This is kind of important.
All of us took off our masks so they can see us.
But this is... I'm Captain America, though.
No,
Are
we get
you
it.
though?
No, we get
I
it.
am. I'm worthy. I caught the hammer.
Yeah, that was
so-
impressive, but
yeah.
take off the mask.
You think I should? No.
Yeah, the people want to see your face.
the
The
people
audience,
wanna see.
They like your face. They
course.
want to see it.
Yeah, the money maker. I gotta show it off here. Hey, everybody. So,
Nice of you to join us.
Yes,
right.
thank you.
So, as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted by Iron Man or Iron Woman or whatever she is over there.
Fear me.
Usually, we're here to talk about Game of Thrones, but today we're going to talk about a little movie called Avengers Endgame.
A little movie.
A little movie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's an indie film. It's only made about $2.2 billion. Only. And it's actually become the second highest grossing film of all time. It's right behind Avatar. So watch out, Smurfs. We're coming for you. I've never seen Avatar. I thought it was about the Smurfs. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Seems like it. Basically.
Adult Smurfs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're super tall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they? Okay. Well, there's
Realistic Smurfs.
realistic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Based
well,
on a true story.
There's a lot of characters in this movie. None of them are Smurfs, thankfully. Let's get right to it. It's the movie we've all been waiting for. It's
Yep.
the culmination of 22 films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Mm-hmm.
It's the end of the Infinity Saga,
It is.
and it ends the same way it begins. Iron Man kicks off the series, and Iron Man ends the series by saving the day, and Tony Stark dies.
Yeah.
What'd y'all think about how that happened?
I cried.
I cried too.
Who all cried?
Guilty. Yeah, I cried too.
Thug tears, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it twice. Some of us saw it twice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They saw
Did
it twice.
It's very emotional. They do a good
It
job.
is. I think it was even more emotional when we saw it on IMAX, which, by the way, is the way to
That's the way.
go.
That's the way.
Such a good experience. I was very heartbroken that he died. I heard different theories. Either it was going to be Captain America or it was going to be Iron Man, but R.I.P. Tony.
No, it was brutal. Like I cried twice. Like when Peter Parker comes back and he's talking
Oh my God.
to Tony, he's like, we did it. I was like, oh man, don't cry. I was trying to hold it in so hard, and then the funeral happens. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Mr. Stark.
Yeah.
Hugs him. It's the same thing. It's the reverse of what happens in Infinity War, where as Spider-Man
Yeah.
is disappearing, he's like, I don't feel so good,
It's-
Mr. Stark, and like Tony's trying to grab onto him,
Right.
and he just disappears in his hand.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
Killed it.
Let's talk about the reference I made a second ago, 22 movies. That was actually made at the very beginning of the film. You
It
caught
really
that. I
was.
did not catch that.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
So
So
explain that,
when we
please.
open with, so there is a cold open that deals with Hawkeye, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But after the main titles, we do see Tony in space with Nebula. They've been out there for 22 days, which is a nod to Marvel's 22nd movie in their universe, which is really cool. And they're playing, what is it? Little paper football.
Yeah, paper football.
Yeah.
Paper football,
Yeah.
which I thought was kind of sweet.
But
and
like Frank, I don't know about you, but like that's a pretty big goalpost. I mean, he was giving her a good
He was-
Nebula and Tony are playing.
he's like,
and
Well, I mean, Tony's a genius, and Nebula's is a murderous
Yeah.
assassin. So
Yeah.
give her
So,
advantage.
Right.
Last thing he wants to do is get murdered on that ship. So
they're stuck in space. He's
Yeah.
got a limited amount of oxygen, food, water. So he's
and he's sick.
Because
He's sick.
That's
So-
why he's a genius. Because if I'm up there, I'm so competitive. I'm still playing to win. Like I'm moving.
Yeah.
Like I'm like whatever. And then she probably kills me. And that's the movie right there.
That's totally you.
It's a
But-
10-minute movie.
I tell you, man, Robert Downey, man, like I was a big fan of the comic books growing up, the Avengers comic books, the X-Men comic books. Iron Man was not a popular character in the comic books. Like
Not to this level.
No, not to this level. Compared to like the Wolverines and the X-Men,
Spider-Man.
and Spider-Man, he was a very run-of-the-mill character. Robert Downey has his acting ability. He's done a great job of like being the forefront and being the foundation of Marvel over the last 10 years, and like and to write him off the way they did was, I thought it was eloquent. It was awesome. like you said, somebody who began the Marvel Universe with the first cinematic film in '08 to a guy who's not closing this phase. And it was just spectacular writing by the Russo brothers and great acting by Robert Downey.
I don't see how anybody else can ever play Iron Man. I really don't. Like it's such an iconic role. Like he is Iron Man.
Yeah.
I mean, like I think in the future they're gonna have obviously more movies because they're making literally billions of dollars. So they're gonna make more of these movies. I think we're gonna see him. I think we're gonna see like holograms of Tony Stark, and like they can't keep him out of the movies. I think somehow there's gonna be nods to him. If you've seen the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer, which dropped yesterday, there's a nod to him. There's a lot of nods to him actually. So
I'm doing the nod right now. Just saying, guys.
Although he's not in the film, and trust me, you want to see Avengers Endgame before you watch this trailer because it kind of gives away what we were just talking about.
Spoilers.
Well,
spoilers,
major spoilers.
Major spoilers.
Definitely. But I do want to point out with, as y'all have already said, that I can't even talk right now because it's going to be so emotional. We begin with Tony and we end with Tony. And if you recall to Age of Ultron, Tony, who is pretty much impacted by Scarlet Witch, who wasn't part of the Avengers at that point, she shows him this vision, and basically it's his deepest fears. Right. And we see basically destruction before him, and you see the Avengers all kind of over. You know, you have Captain America, his shield is broken, foreshadow. Black Widow, who is in a particular position, you know, that kind of foreshadows her death. And so now we're kind of getting to that point where all of this is coming into fruition. And I think it's just, I love the little nuggets that throughout this Avengers series we see, and now it's kind of, here's a gift, we're going to wrap it, and here you go.
But that's funny you said that because, like, even though he did die in his last movie, his fear was them dying and him living. That was his ultimate fear. And I think as the movies went on, he was trying to do everything to rectify that and make sure that if the Avengers fell, it wouldn't because of him surviving and seeing his friends, you know, perishing. So, yeah, I think in a way that was him trying to right his wrongs and trying to, you know, being the ultimate sacrifice.
Right, but he has so much to live for at this present time.
Of course.
Because once he comes back to Earth,
Mind you, this is 5 years after Infinity War.
Exactly.
Yeah. We do kind of a time jump from the end of Infinity War to the beginning of this movie.
Right, we will do that. Sort of, but that goes into Captain America and the other Avengers, which we'll get to.
A lot of time travel.
A lot of time travel in this movie, which brings me to...
confusing.
Just a little bit.
Doesn't always make sense. Still a great movie.
Yeah. But in 5 years into the future from the time of the snap, as we're going to call it, Tony has a family. He marries Pepper. They have a daughter, Morgan, who's the cutest little girl of...
I want a daughter now. I want a Morgan in my life.
She's so cute. And now he has a lot to lose if they attempt to go back in time, as we will later find out in this movie. Tony figures out time travel. It's a huge thing. Yeah. It's probably the biggest breakthrough in scientific history. And what they're going to do to try to go back and defeat Thanos in some kind of fashion, he's risking losing everything that he currently has, which is his family. And that's heartbreaking. Yeah. Because to your point, you know, he was fearful of everyone else dying and him living. But we're going to see that kind of shift, obviously, because we already know that Tony dies. It's just sad.
But ultimately, Tony was wrong because in Ultron, he says, I think he was talking to Thor, he's like, I wasn't tricked, I was shown. I was shown what was going to happen. So he was so dead set on like find a way to change his fate or change his team's fate and making sure that he wasn't the last man standing.
Yep.
And I think it showed proof. It showed to that last scene of him making that ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's all over this movie as expected. I mean, let's just get into it. He figures out time travel, which is the main plot device in the whole movie.
Yep.
We return to the Avengers, the 2012 movie. George, what did you think about that?
No, I thought it was great when just honestly everything like within that when they went back in time and did all that, it was pretty interesting, but some parts still confused me, like the talk that I guess Bruce Banner had with
the ancient one.
The ancient one, like when they were trying to explain the thing. Frank, I didn't understand anything. I know you understood it a little bit more than me, but it was just I loved the movie. I thought it was like great, perfect ending, like everything. Everyone had their everything closed up. Like
They wrapped
it
up
went full
the
circle
entire-
from
all the movies.
yeah, it went full circle. But it's just a time thing. I got confused on some parts, and maybe y'all can help me with that.
Yeah.
But talking about Tony real quick, like
Yes.
in the first like couple minutes of the movie, when he starts falling asleep, I literally thought he was gonna die already.
Oh, me too.
I was like, is this really how this movie's gonna start? Did any of you think that?
Oh yeah.
No, when I saw the trailer in December and they were out in space, I was like, Captain Marvel's coming. Captain Marvel,
that's the only
she's
reason.
got to come
Yeah.
because like there's no way you kill off a $50 million actor the first 10 minutes of a movie. I don't see it happening.
I was like, oh no.
I don't know. They
They
kind
have
of.
so much talent. The bench is so deep in
Oh,
this
yeah.
movie. There's like, there's 30 people that all have headline movies on their
Yeah.
own. So it's pretty impressive, the cast.
Yeah.
But going back for them to go back to New York and the reason why they're going back in time is because they're trying to acquire the stones from different time periods. We know that in New York there were 3. There was the Space Stone, which Tony does acquire eventually. There's the Mind Stone, and then there's the
Mind Stone, Time Stone.
Time Stone. Thank you. Sorry, couldn't spit that out. And so, but in going back, they realized that they had to go back even further to acquire the Tesseract because Loki steals it. Big surprise. And
That was funny.
Tony has a reunion with his father, Howard Stark, in 1970, which was really cool. And got some closure in that frame as well. And then let's just keep going, guys. Like, what other reunions? There was a Peter Parker reunion
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah.
I know that there's a minor reunion here, but even when Ant-Man comes back after the 5 years of being in the quantum realm, he sees his daughter for the first time.
Yeah.
And his
That
daughter
was-
is no longer
yeah.
a little girl.
I was
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah, that's and I mean I'm not a parent, but like I can only imagine having a kid, losing my kid for a span of 5 years. Well, in the quantum realm it seemed like 5 hours, but to come back and all of a sudden your kid's a teenager now.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Doesn't make
that's a
sense.
mind trip. Yeah.
Does make sense.
And Ant-Man, he's the one who introduces the whole time travel idea. He calls
Yeah.
it a time heist. But
Yeah.
he's the one who gets that going.
Yeah.
And kind of motivates everybody. Like, let's do this. We got to bring
Yeah.
back everybody. So let's kind of skip to the end of the movie where like we had this big battle at the end. We have Thanos from what 2012 or 2014?
2014.
2014 Thanos. Yeah.
2014.
He's come to the future, which is now actually 10 years ahead. It's actually I guess 2024. Is it?
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
So he's there. He's attacked the Avengers headquarters, which is like in New York, New Jersey,
Yeah,
or
New
whatever.
York.
And he is trying to get the Infinity Stones. The Avengers have the gauntlet. He's chasing them down, and I mean it's just a wild scene. Spider-Man has the gauntlet, actually Hawkeye has the gauntlet originally. Spider-Man gets it. Black Panther gets it. It's like a relay. It's like the hand
Yeah,
up
it's
the
like
top.
a relay
it's
race.
definitely-
Black Panther
to
takes
the
it from
truck.
Hawkeye. Spider-Man gets it. Captain Marvel gets it. And then
Yeah.
eventually, of course, Thanos gets it back. He goes to put it on. He's battling Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man. And then Iron Man takes the stones away from him.
That sleight of hand.
Sleight hand takes the stones
All
away
that
from him.
nanotech.
Iron Man
So
has his
cool.
own gauntlet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanos says he thinks he has the stones on his hand. He says, "I'm inevitable." Snap. Nothing happens. And then Iron Man says, "I'm Iron Man." Boom. And then Thanos' army, they all go away. And then Tony dies. I mean, did you see like his body, just like the blackness from I guess
Yeah, from the
Everything's
radiation.
just the radiation.
Coming out.
Radiation.
Yeah. Well, he said right before Banner put it on to snap to get all the heroes back, he said it's enough power to light up a continent.
Yeah.
So think about that, like a human being snapping his fingers. It's
Yeah.
not. This is not the Hulk doing it with all
Yeah.
that gamma that he has in him. This is a mere human being
Yeah.
taking that hit. So that was amazing.
Took it like a champ though.
Yeah, he
'cause
did. No, he
the Hulk
did.
did it, and he was like freaking out.
Yeah. No, he did. No, it was amazing.
I don't think Tony would have done that unless he got confirmation from Doctor Strange that this was the one
Exactly.
chance out of 14 million possibilities that they were going to win.
Because they make eye contact.
Yeah, they do.
And,
They do.
And then
And
Doctor
Doctor
Strange
Strange
says, "This
you know,
is the
does
one."
this.
Yeah. And so
And-
he knew that he has to be the one. Because like that's why Doctor Strange brought him back.
So that's why
Infinity
no
War.
one else did it.
That's why no one else
Right.
did it.
Because I was wondering that too. I was like, you could have had someone else that like would have not died if they would.
Right, like
Right.
Captain Marvel, she's
Yeah.
powerful enough.
Yeah.
Thor is powerful enough, you would think, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe Scarlet Witch is powerful enough to withstand
Maybe.
that. But
I thought maybe Nebula, just because she's more droid
a
than
robot.
anything.
Yeah.
So
but It had to be Iron Man.
Had to be Iron Man.
He's
So that was the
leader.
only way it had to
Only
be.
way.
him.
That's
Wow.
the only out of 14 million scenarios, the only one where they won was where Iron Man
Wow.
sacrificed himself. So
That's
Yes.
deep.
That was a confusing plot hole for me. Cause Strange has the time stone. Like he's the keeper of the time stone. When you go back to Infinity War, when Peter Quill messed up and punched Thanos and Thanos got the glove back, just rewind time again. Just rewind time to a point when Quill does it to get the glove off of him.
But he must have saw that, right? So he must have saw that scenario happen already. He replayed it in his mind, even though like they did it so many. He went and played back all the scenarios, and even if he stopped it before he punched, it still would not worked
That's
out.
true. That makes sense.
Okay, this is a good point.
Good job, George. That's good. Valid
I'm
point.
assuming.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. Like,
yeah, I mean the time stuff is so hard. I mean you kind of have to just suspend disbelief. You know, like you
Yeah.
should like say this is a fantasy story. This is a comic book. Like just go with it. So Iron Man dies. We have a very emotional scene on the battlefield where his wife Pepper Potts acknowledges him and Spider-Man.
She comes in like a total, like, just she's awesome at
Yeah.
coming in as rescue. There's no code name in the movie, but she comes in basically as rescue. And earlier in the movie, when Tony tells her he figured out time travel, and says, I can just leave it behind me, go to bed, and she says yes, but will you be able to rest? And so that was at the beginning of the movie. At the end of the movie, she knows what's going to happen, obviously, and with a very brave face, she says, Tony, we're okay. You can rest now. And that's the part that obviously gets me the most because it's giving him that peace of mind that everyone is okay thanks to him. And then he goes. The light, the chest, what do you call it?
The reactor.
The reactor. Thank you.
Yeah.
I couldn't think about
Yeah.
it. Goes out and she's emotional. That's where I'm starting to get emotional right now. But like that's when two people love each other that much and you know that you have to say goodbye to that one person, that has been incredibly difficult. But he did so much for humanity, and but I really loved how she gave him that peace of mind. Rest now, we're okay.
It's the ultimate sacrifice because Pepper knew the minute that she gave Iron Man clearance to pursue this time travel thing, she knew that she was going to lose him eventually.
Yeah.
And the level of unselfishness that it took to do that, Daenerys, take notes. The level of unselfishness. The level of unselfishness it took, because she has a family, she has a daughter. Like they live in. I mean, even though it's 5 years later and they lost half of humanity, she's happy with Tony and her daughter. So to basically say, I'm giving you permission to save humanity and at the expense of you, that's huge on her part.
Yeah, definitely.
And then after that, so we go to this amazing kind of funeral scene where it's at his log cabin somewhere, I guess in California, maybe it's in New York. It's hard to tell where they are.
Yeah.
But they basically show every character from the MCU, and they're all kind of in their movie grouping. They pan, through Black Panther's group, and they go to
dope.
So good.
Yeah, they go,
The music with
on-
it was just so good too. That's where you also get equally
You see
emotional.
characters like you see the kid from Iron Man 3. who,
Harley.
Like I didn't know the first time I saw
I
the
didn't
movie, I was like,
recognize
who
it
is
either.
that kid?
I had to ask Frank. I called him right after the movie. I was like, who was that kid in the back?
I thought he was the kid on the bike where Ant-Man's like, hey
No.
kid, what happened to everybody? I was
Yeah.
like, why did they bring that kid back? Just because like Ant-Man knew him or something?
No, that was Harley
Yeah.
from Iron
Wow.
Man 3.
But so after that, it's a great scene, and we can't break down every single part of it. But
Yeah.
you have this incredible moment. I'll have Frank talk about this because I know this is touching for him. Where Happy, who is Tony's, his
Security.
his like everything guy.
Yeah.
Who
he's
also
sitting-
directed the first Iron Man
Exactly,
movie.
Jon Favreau. Yeah, he's in Spider-Man also.
Mm-hmm.
So he's sitting with Morgan, who's Tony's 5-year-old daughter, and take it away, Frank.
I think that moment there encapsulates what Tony, the connection Tony had with that little girl over the last 5 years after the snap. Like, and you see in the scene, the first scene with him and Morgan as they're playing, and she's in the I think the doghouse or whatever, and they're going back and forth. It's like you see how far Tony has come since the snap, and you see how even though he lost so much, the one thing that he could not lose was that little girl, and I think Iron Man 1, he talks about when he got captured, he talks about his, all he wants a cheeseburger and a shower or whatever.
Cheeseburger first.
Yeah, cheeseburger first. And so to flash forward 22 movies into this one of the last scenes, when Morgan is being asked by Happy, like, what do you want to eat? He's like, cheeseburgers, just like your dad. I saw that movie 4 times. That particular scene, I broke down every single
You did.
time because the
did.
connection, that father-daughter connection is so because I have so many goddaughters as well, and like even though they're not my daughters, but like, I treat them as such, and like seeing that, it was very heart wrenching.
Yeah, it got me too, and I mean it's such a like beautiful ending to the whole story, and honestly, we could spend all our time talking about Iron Man, but we're gonna have to move on to the next character.
Yeah.
So let's go from Iron Man to my guy Captain America. I thought he was gonna die in this movie. It seemed like he was gonna die.
I thought so too.
Yep.
They found a different way to get Chris Evans out of the role because apparently he doesn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Which
A little bitter about that, aren't you?
no, I mean I think
I'm very bitter about that.
he's great in that role, and I just like his other movies. I couldn't even name any of his movies right now.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
That was
That's
Flame
not a good
on.
one. That's not a good one. Okay, let's move on.
neither one were.
Let's hit the high points of Captain America in this movie. Okay. So it begins. We're right after Infinity War. So he's helping lead this charge to go get Thanos. They find Thanos thanks to Nebula. Captain Marvel brings Iron Man and Nebula back to Earth. The team gets together with Captain Marvel showing up, and she gets them fired up. So Thor, Captain Marvel, Hulk, who
Black
else?
Widow.
Black Widow,
War
War
Machine.
Machine.
Captain America. They all travel to this village where they find Thanos.
It's called the Garden.
Garden. He's living a very simple life. They find him. They're looking for the stones. Turns out he's already destroyed the stones like a day or two before.
Yeah, his arm's all jacked up
Right.
too.
Thor chops his arm off, then beheads Thanos. Like this is like 10, 15 minutes in the movie. You're thinking, what are they gonna do in this
Yeah.
movie?
Yo.
Yeah.
I was like, is this movie about to end already? Like,
Two
Exactly.
times.
Disney got gangster real quick.
yeah. Especially the beheading, I would not see
I did
coming.
not
I was like, this is a Disney movie. They're not gonna do that.
Right?
And boom! I was like, Thanos was just sitting like enjoying his retirement, just hanging out.
Right.
And making some
picking some
eggs
fruit.
in the kitchen, just making some food, all organic, everything farm.
All organic.
And then out of nowhere, they just come and wreck his whole. I feel bad for him, man.
He murdered trillions of people. What do you
Well-
mean feel bad for him?
Well,
He said,
Thanos has like his own Whole Foods going on there, and yeah, I know. But so by killing Thanos, that doesn't change anything. Everyone who was lost in the snap from Infinity War is still gone.
Still gone.
So they go back to New York. Everyone's bummed out. Captain America is trying to put on this happy face. He's going to these support groups, talking to people, trying to get people, hey, like we got to move on. But even he admits that like we tell people this, but we can't move on ourselves because we actually have the power to do something. That's kind of the feeling I got at least.
well, to rewind a little bit, before they attacked Thanos on that garden planet, Black Widow's telling him this is gonna work, and he says in Cap fashion, I hope it does work because I don't know what I'm gonna do if it doesn't. This is probably the most hardworking, never give up character in the MCU. For him to say, if this doesn't work, I don't know what I'm gonna do, because he's always up for solutions, always up for to fight the good fight.
a soldier.
He's depleted at this point.
He's Jon Snow, just like smarter.
Yeah.
And taller.
No, I agree.
Stronger. I mean,
Yeah.
he's just. Sorry, Jon Snow. I'm a big fan, but
He's worthy.
Captain America would kill you. For real. Like you're done, son. Okay.
But yeah, so they're back in New York, and the support group and all. And when Ant-Man or Scott Lang comes into the picture, he tells Captain and Natasha about time heist and the quantum realm, et cetera, et cetera. And Captain's like, well, here's enough hope. We're gonna lead this charge in time heist. We need to recruit Tony. We need to recruit Hulk, who we will later find out is now Professor Hulk. And they go back in time to, again, New York, 2012, for the first Avengers movie, because everyone is involved. And we're coming face to face between Captain America in 2012 and then the present Captain America. And one scene I absolutely loved, before we get into that scene, because I know you guys really love that scene, is the elevator scene where
that was fun.
It's like from Civil War kind of, right? No, from Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
It's exactly like from Winter Soldier. You have the SHIELD agents, but they're actually Hydra agents who are wanting to take the Tesseract for their own purposes. And because present-day Captain America already knows this information, he tells them, hey, I'm going to take this for whatever reasons. And, oh, no, I can't allow that. I need to call the director. He goes, no worry. Hail Hydra.
I
So
busted out
freaking
laughing.
boss. That was
Right
so
before
good.
that, you think he's just going to beat him up like he did. in the-
Like
Exactly.
Winter Soldier.
against the
Exactly.
Winter Soldier. I keep saying that,
It's okay.
Jon Snow would not have done that.
No.
Jon Snow would have fought
yeah.
Yeah.
and probably died.
Or someone would have bailed him out, as always.
Yeah.
Definitely. But then once present day Captain America acquires the Tesseract, he then comes face to face with 2012 Captain America, and 2012 Captain America thinks, oh, Loki's in disguise, and they start going hand to hand combat. Amazing.
It's an incredible scene.
Amazing scene.
Let's not get it twisted. 2012 Captain America kind of gave him the business though.
He did.
It wasn't close. he had to yell Bucky for him to momentarily freeze him. Yeah, that was.
So 2012 Cap gets current Cap or future Cap in a headlock,
Yeah.
and the only way that Captain America can get out of it is he knows that his kryptonite is that Bucky. He goes, Bucky's alive.
That was really good.
The 2012 guy just like what? He's just blown away. So then Cap knocks him out.
Yeah.
Knocks him out. 2012 Cap's laying face down, and if Brittany wants to deliver the line,
This is my favorite thing because when we first see the 2012 scene, Tony comes in and he's making a comment of, he always has to make a slick comment about one of the Avengers, and he's talking to Cap and saying, oh, that suit did nothing for your buttocks. And
it's posterior,
his gluteus maximus.
There you go.
And so we see that, then we eventually see Cap versus Cap, and like you said, 2012 Cap is face down, and present day Cap looks at him, he's like, yeah, that's America's ass, all right. I said it. I have no regrets. It's awesome. It's just a funny scene because you have to think back to Cap really didn't like swearing.
Right. In
Very
this movie,
early
he
on.
does.
He goes in.
He's got a potty mouth.
And we're about to say
all
those words right now.
But Cap with Tony, they travel further back in time because they lose the Tesseract, like I said, in a really funny scene with 2012 Hulk.
I thought that was a silly way to lose a Tesseract.
It really was.
Seriously, just the Hulk just all angry. They make him take the stairs, and then as soon as they have the thing, boom, just gets hit by the door.
Yeah.
And then it magically lands on Loki's hands.
Yes.
And Loki just grabs it and he's gone.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll find out what happens to Loki later on.
Maybe, hopefully.
Like in
And then
November,
on this
whenever
TV
Disney
show, right?
Plus kicks off and he has his own show.
Disney streaming service coming soon.
Cannot wait
Oh,
for
I'm
that.
getting it.
Disney, take my money. You've got it.
Yes. Yes.
whatever you
do
want.
It. Do
It's
it.
actually pretty affordable. So
It's not bad.
How much is it?
it's like $7 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like $60 for the year.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, there's gonna be 4 Marvel shows, so it's gonna be
Nice.
to kick off. So
Disney, sponsor us. So,
Buy us out, please.
so Tony and Cap go back further in time, 1970, New Jersey, which is the the army camp where it's the birthplace of Captain America. Not true. Not even created. It was just where he trained, and it's very familiar to him. And S.H.I.E.L.D. had their hidden, quote unquote, hidden offices in plain sight where they know they can go get the Tesseract and also get some PIM particles that they need to allow them to travel in time. And like I said earlier, Tony encounters his dad, Howard Stark, and Captain doesn't really encounter her, but he does see Peggy Carter from a distance, and he just kind of stops. And so that plays kind of an important role later on for Captain America at the very end of this movie, where he will go back in time once again and stay back in time and marry Peggy and have that life that he totally missed out on, and it's just wonderful.
And it makes sense that he's the one traveling through time because one of his comic titles was A Man Out of Time. That's what he's known as. So
Yeah.
Yes.
And he was frozen in 45 and when he was in the ice, which is probably a little bit warmer than it is in this studio right now. It's very cold in here.
It is.
Um,
I'm good. But moving forward to the final battle scene, like I said before in Ultron, in the vision from Age of Ultron that Tony had, he sees that Captain S.H.I.E.L.D. is broken in half. And that's due to Thanos smashing it. It was crazy. And vibranium is supposed to be the strongest substance on Earth, right? And it's almost like Play-Doh at this point.
Makes me wonder what Thanos was hitting him with.
Exactly.
Snap that thing in half.
Exactly. It's crazy. And I kind of feel with Captain America, we have like this Jon Snow complex. He's been beaten down. He's tired. It seems like all hope is gone. But he's still going to stand up and fight this enormous army until the very end.
I mean, the fact that he's laying down, Thanos is walking toward him. you get that great look on his face. He kind of like straps the what's left of his shield on and gets up, and then we had the great moment. George, you want to talk about where
everyone just starts coming in
come back.
and starts coming back, and it was just like the perfect timing
Sick.
because it was
So good.
he was about to die. If it wasn't for everybody else that came in, and
But how the heroes were introduced.
Oh, yeah.
Captain Hearing,
Sam Wilson.
Sam
Yeah.
Wilson,
You wanna take it
Falcon.
away from-
Yeah, on your left, it's
On
called
your
back
left.
to Winter Soldier
Yep.
when they're running around the memorial
Beginning of
thing.
the movie where
Yeah.
Captain America just laughing at him, and Sam Wilson's like, "Who is this dude that keeps laughing? This is ridiculous! Like I'm in tremendous shape.
It's like-
this guy's just flying around." me."
Yes.
But they do a great job of having these iconic moments as far as like shots. Like in Avengers 1, you have the circular moment where all the Avengers are in the circle and the camera's rotating around them, right? In Avengers 2 Age of Ultron, you have the opening scene where they're fighting Hydra and like they jump out all in one freeze frame and they're all lined up. And in this movie is when all the heroes came back. With
So good.
all
Doctor
the
Strange's,
Doctor Strange time
time
vortex things. Yeah, it's just they do a great job of encapsulating great cinematic moments and like to where you never forget them.
you know who should be MVP too is Doctor Strange or all those people that helped them open those portals to get in. Because I didn't think about that. Like,
Yeah, they have
if it wasn't for them, how would they have gotten there?
Right.
talking about thousands of monks that
Yeah.
open up those
Yeah,
portals.
yeah.
Yeah, like
That's
One of my
crazy.
favorite characters. I love him.
he is an MVP candidate for sure.
Yeah.
He is.
So
So,
let's wrap up Cap's story now. So after they defeat Thanos, they decide, or he decides, or the team decides he needs to travel back in time and take all the Infinity Stones and put them back to where they were before. Which this is the part that really doesn't
Gets
totally
confusing.
make sense to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
It gets
Especially the
confusing.
part about how at Vormir you have Red Skull protecting that stone.
Yeah.
Red Skull, of course, is like Captain America's like arch.
Nemesis.
The main arch enemy.
Arch
Yeah.
enemy. So like, I can't imagine. I wish they would have shown like where he goes back and he's like, "Oh, you're here." Like,
Yeah.
The awkward encounter, be like,
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna-
wait,
Like, so I got to give this back to you so that someone will have to die to get this later on. Like, it,
yeah.
I don't
It's
know about
that
that
one made no
part, yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
No, made no sense to me. Because then what happened? Like, so when you get the Soul Stone, it's you can't do anything to bring that person back, right?
According to Hawkeye, he says it's done.
Yeah, it says it's done. In that particular timeline, it's done. But if you go back,
But then if you go back
Before-
before they give it to him, like,
you
why,
should be
they're
fine, 'cause-
alive.
Yeah, because Gamora was alive, even though it was 5. It was 8 years prior or whatever. She was alive or whatever. So,
So
I
it
don't.
seems like we're dealing with the different branches
Yeah.
now. We're
So
not
are we
working
talking
on
about
the same timelines.
timelines now? See that?
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's,
Did
it's
y'all
a
see
really
what?
confusing.
Did y'all see what I tagged in on Facebook?
yeah, yeah,
The-
I
about
saw.
the-
Yeah, because the Russo
with
brothers
Cap-
say alternate.
Yeah,
They said alternate
the
timelines.
timeline. Then someone else says
Says-
it's the.
It's the same timeline.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
So I guess I was right because I remember I told you about the alternate timeline for Cap. So it didn't happen in that main timeline.
No, but my question is, how was he able to jump from that alternate timeline back to the main timeline to meet Sam, Bruce, and all those guys again?
That's my point.
That's
confusing.
Bruce Banner as well, because Bruce.
Oh, sorry.
Bruce was
You
one-
said
yeah.
Bruce and I thought Batman. Sorry.
No, no.
Wrong universe.
Yeah.
DC can only like wish that they could produce a movie like this.
That's
Shazam,
true.
Oh, here we go.
Shazam is very
Here we
good.
go.
Shazam is good.
Although I did like the Christopher Nolan Batmans, but that's
Oh,
just
well, those are amazing.
sidebar.
Yeah, those are
amazing.
Those
sidebar.
are, yeah, those are
But
those movies.
to Frank's point, you know, Cap does go back in time. He comes back at the exact same moment, but he's older Cap. By the way, he looks like Clint Eastwood, which you know is kind of crazy. But he ages well, and we see Cap and Sam have this exchange of, wow, you know, you went back in time, basically. Cap's wearing a wedding ring. You want me to tell me about her? No, not really. But I do want to pass on the mantle of Captain America to you, Sam Wilson. Which
gives him the shield.
So dope.
Yeah.
and,
awesome.
and Cap asks, well, how does it feel when Sam puts it on? He says, feels like it belongs to somebody else, which is a great way of paying homage to Captain America. And then he says, I'll do my best to uphold basically the ideals of Captain.
So he's the new Captain America, and he's got
Which is
Bucky.
awesome.
Bucky's with him, which
Yes.
I think Frank, you might want to talk about this about how Bucky. It seemed like Bucky knew
Yeah.
everything that was
Oh,
going
yeah.
down.
So
I
so
definitely
like,
think so.
Right before Captain America went back in time, Bucky says, "I'm going to miss you." Like because Bruce and Sam are thinking that he's going to come right back after he
In like
plays
5
the Phoenix
seconds.
Stone. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it makes me believe that Captain America spoke to Bucky off camera saying, "Hey, I'm not coming back, but don't tell the rest of the homies. It's between me and you." And it's fitting because Bucky and Cap are best friends, so it would make sense for him to tell them that I'm not coming back. But that was very emotional, and Bucky held it together. Like
Yeah,
I
he
would
did.
thought he would have broke down because their friendship is so weird to me. Like for the better part of 7 years, Cap was frozen. For the better part of 7 years, Winter Soldier was frozen as well, or better part of 40 years, he was found in ice.
Right.
So their friendship took a hit because they weren't around. You know what I'm saying?
They're just so tight when they were like teenagers
Exactly.
or whatever growing
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, so to lose each other again after finding each other just 3 or 4 years prior to that has got to be tough on their friendship. But yeah, Bucky held it together.
It was a very fitting way to wrap Cap's
Yeah.
story arc, and he got back the life that he never had, and he did it with Peggy, which I think is beautiful and lovely.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see like what's next with Captain America, with the Falcon being Captain America.
That'd
With
be
Bucky.
cool.
That's going to be a Disney Plus show. So another plug for Disney Plus.
That's awesome.
Again, please pay us Disney Plus. But let's move on to another character who had a huge role. That's Thor.
Huge
And
is a very
because he has a little bit of a weight gain in the movie. George, you want to talk about
just
it?
a little bit.
Yeah, like, I know Justin's seen The Big Lebowski. I don't think y'all seen
I
it.
YouTube
but
what he looks like. He looks just
exactly,
like him.
The outfit looked exactly like the dude from The Big
He
Lebowski.
did.
It's a funny movie. Go check it out. But yeah, I did not see that coming. But it made sense.
Oh, yeah,
it
definitely.
made sense. Like everything that happened, like Thor's like in a really dark time. Like he's going through a lot of stuff, and it's just being at home and just hanging out, not doing anything.
Well, think about it. In the last two Thor movies and Avenger movie, he lost his dad, lost his mom.
He's been through a lot.
Lost his brother, lost his best friend,
Half
lost
of
half
his
his people
planet.
of Asgard. Like he took some L's,
Yeah.
and like I think. Even though it was a funny moment seeing him fat, it really encapsulates what he's been through and what
Yeah.
he's lost and how he kind of just gave up on life at that
Yeah.
He
point.
did. He did.
Yeah.
But with Thor, I think everyone on the internet likes to call him Fat Thor, which is pretty funny.
awful.
It's awful, but it's funny. But like you said, he's definitely taken some L's, and
Yeah.
he's kind of got this failure status going on. But he does have a chance to redeem himself by going back to Asgard in 2013 with Rocket, the raccoon who he says is a rabbit.
I like that combo.
That was
Both-
funny. That is a
both
funny
of them.
combo. It is a funny
Both
combo.
of
It's
them.
really funny. But they go back to Asgard to get the ether or the reality stone from Jane. And Thor is reunited with his mother because he knows that day she's going to die. And he kind of gets that closure from her. She knows he's not the Thor from that time
How
frame.
did she die real quick? I forgot.
She stabbed.
The elf.
By who?
The elf stabbed.
Dark elf.
Dark elf
Right.
stabbed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So he wants to save her, of course, but she says, no, you do what you need to do and go be the person that you basically want to be. And big thing, guys, Mjolnir is back. Mew Mew. I love Mew Mew. There you go. And Thor, he does this kind of like,
Yeah.
and
for it.
he calls for it and he gets it back and he's like, I'm still worthy.
While
So
Rocket's waiting.
that kind of
He's just like, come on, man.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so that kind of I think helps Thor with his self-esteem. He is worthy, and he will wield Stormbringer, his axe thing, as well as Mew Mew, as I'm going to call it. But he wields it when Captain America is going to wield Mew Mew as well, which is a big thing in the battle because he is worthy. We saw that in Age of Ultron that he could kind of move it, and Thor says, I knew it. It was a really cool scene to see that.
And Cap calls for the hammer. And
Cap
that's
does
an
call
amazing
for-
scene in the movie where
It
he
is.
has the hammer. He's fighting Thanos with the hammer.
That's one
people
of-
were cheering
so
in the
good.
theater
Yeah.
like the first time I saw
Yeah,
it.
I did. I cheered. I
It
was
was-
like,
it was-
yes.
Oh yeah, when we all saw it, they were like,
Unbelievably
yeah.
exciting,
Yeah, it was that was
Some guy next to you made an explicit, heck yeah.
yeah.
We're gonna go with that.
Yeah.
But now that Thor is this battle's over, Thor hands over the reins of King of Asgard to Valkyrie, and she wants to make some changes. He's like, I look forward to that, and he decides to leave with Guardians of the Galaxy, but calling it.
The Asgard.
Asgard Galaxy.
I hope that movie happens. I can't wait. Thor is so funny in this movie.
Yeah.
From Ragnarok on, he's just been honestly my favorite character. Like I love Ragnarok so much. Like,
Yeah,
I
I
think it's my
do
favorite
too.
movie. I think it's like, although this one's pretty close. I think
Yes.
they're right up there.
Why aren't you
really
wearing
is.
your Thor outfit then?
Don't
Oh.
have one yet.
We had a blonde wig. He didn't want to put it on. I had the idea. It
You're
was
gonna-
pretty funny.
You're gonna see it. You're gonna see
That's
it.
so
Okay, like,
funny.
that's a tease for you.
Well, then there's this rift between Star-Lord, Peter Quill, and Thor about who's in charge
Who's in charge of the ship,
of the
yeah.
ship, and And
Y'all do it so good together, you and
Peter,
Franklin.
Peter Quill's kind of like, well, everyone knows that I'm in charge, and Thor's like, of course. It's one of my favorite lines from Chris Hemsworth. I mean, in Ragnarok, like 80% of that script was totally improvisation, and it was so organic, it was so good, and the fact that they've allowed him to continue being that innovative and improvise, it's just so good. I love it. I'm so excited for it.
His growth as an actor, because Thor 1 and 2, he's pretty much just godly, like deep voice,
There's funny
very
moments,
stern.
but it's
he's
hit or
very
miss,
stiff, and like shout out to Wakiti, man, directing Thor Ragnarok, because he's the one that directed it. He kind of just told Hemsworth just unleash, man, just be funny, like don't worry about a script, just go in. And like he does a great job, even with the Hulk.
Yeah.
The Hulk he talks in Ragnarok, and like having that odd couple mentality in Ragnarok, I really thought it pushed the movie into heights.
They just have so much character than they've ever had before.
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
For sure.
So let's go from the what's the strongest Avenger to one of the other stronger Avengers, the Hulk. George, you want to talk about the Hulk's transformation in this movie?
Yeah, I did not expect him to be like Professor Hulk already. Like they didn't even explain how it happened or whatever. But I know this.
He does start off as human,
time.
though.
He
We do
did.
see Bruce Banner as human when they go to the garden.
Yeah.
And he's in what's it called, Hulkbuster.
Yeah, but yeah, 5 years later, still
True,
in
true.
between, like everyone had a little recap. They should have just, but it didn't ruin the movie for me. It didn't matter. But the one scene that I found hilarious was he was in the coffee shop with Ant-Man, and he was asking to take the photo.
He's like posing and stuff.
Yeah.
He dabs.
He does.
Yeah, he
dabs.
dabs. Yeah, he did dab. He
Think
dabs.
about it, that's 5 years from now. There's no way that's
There's
cool.
no way
It's
that's
not cool
relevant.
right now. It's not cool in the future.
We talked about that because
Yeah.
Fortnite. They were still playing Fortnite.
I know that. Fortnite's
Is it
not
still
cool.
gonna be? Is it still gonna be cool in 5
That's
years?
because you're a default noob.
I know. My nephews think it's like the best thing ever. It's not. It's a terrible game.
We're gonna get disliked by all the young fans.
It's
We
trash.
love our young fans. Watch us on YouTube.
We love Fortnite.
Listen to your mother. She knows better. But the other in that same scene that you're talking about, when the kids obviously want to come up and talk to Hulk, Ant-Man's kind of being, oh hey,
Like,
I'm
do you want a photo with
Ant-Man.
me?
Right.
And they're like, no, because we don't know you. And so the other thing too is Natasha Romanoff is there. And in previous movies, we see there's a connection between Bruce Banner and Natasha. And I got no connection whatsoever between the two of them while they were sitting there talking.
Yeah.
Did y'all think the same?
No, it was
No.
no connection at all.
Okay.
Like, and then how they made it lead up from the other movies. Like you would thought something was gonna
There's
happen
no
between
payoff.
them.
There's
Yeah,
no
that was
payoff.
At all.
No.
So what was the point?
That was the one storyline that didn't get any closure
Yeah.
or
there's-
any acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Not
at
really.
all.
Yeah.
No, but because, like we talked about earlier, how Cap leads the charge for time heist. After Scott comes to him, goes to Tony. Tony's like, no, I've got too much to lose. Cap comes back, and Cap goes to Professor Hulk, who we're now seeing, and says, hey, we want to do this. And there's some hesitation, but they do attempt to go back in time. And so, sorry, my stomach's rumbling. and so, Professor Hulk does as best he can, and we see Scott Lang, teenager Scott Lang, and
Baby, old man.
and then baby, and there's that really funny line of "Someone wet my pants." I don't know if it was old me or baby me.
Or Mimi.
Mimi.
But look, that still give Professor Hulk credit. That's nowhere near his wheelhouse, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
he's-
absolutely.
He's
Gamma.
He's Gamma.
He's
Body
Gamma.
chemistry,
Didn't kill him.
Gamma. Yeah, but to even get that close into moving time through
No, for sure.
Paul Rudd, that's still amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, shout out to him. He's coming close.
Because of his gamma, because of the gamma radiations in him, he's able to do the snap that actually brings
Yes.
back
The heroes.
the heroes.
Or just 50% of the population of
Yeah,
Scotland.
yeah.
Exactly.
That was real clutch by him.
Yeah, but he's not able to do that until before they go back to New York 2012,
Yeah.
and he gets he sees Hulk 2012 and Hulk smash and has to kind of blend in.
Yeah, he's like so gratuitous.
Yeah.
You know? And Hulk goes to Bleecker Street where the Time Stone is supposed to be, and he encounters the Ancient One. They have that discussion about time, and eventually we'll get the Time Stone freely.
To be honest, I like Angry Hulk more than
I do.
the regular, because that was
This
funny.
like happy medium who's
When he punched the elevator when everyone was going down, he could have easily killed all of them.
Yeah,
He really
easily.
could.
And he just punched.
That's how Avengers 1 ends. It just with an elevator death.
I bet you there's a timeline where that actually happened.
Oh my gosh.
But what's so funny with that is when like right when the elevator closes, Tony's telling him, no, calm down. Like as if they know how he is, and they're trying to tell him to chill out.
Well,
it did not matter. Yeah.
In Hulk's defense, he's told to go take the stairs. There's a lot of stairs in that tower.
He can leap 55
why
miles
didn't
in
he
one
just
jump.
jump out?
Just jump down.
He would have
Yeah.
destroyed everything had he jumped.
No, you wouldn't have.
What if we would?
Just destroy the ground.
I'm sorry, did
Not-
y'all
not-
not-
not
The whole
the
city's
village.
destroyed already. It's not like it's gonna make a
I
difference.
mean, I do think that he would have done more damage.
He
I
would have
think
done more damage.
That city was already destroyed.
I mean, think about
Well,
him.
then maybe jump out of the window.
Yeah.
Where it's like the ruins are outside.
I still make
New York,
Because-
New York is
yeah.
destroyed
Well,
at this
I thought that's
point.
what you were talking
You jump
about.
out of the building and come and going down to the ground. When I had done none, this buildings are missing at this point.
Yeah,
And
that's what I-
2012
that's what I
New
mean.
York.
Just jump.
Yeah, just jump.
Fine.
What are you gonna hurt? A fly? I mean, what does it
Fine,
matter?
I concede.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
it would have been better, but it did add definite comedic relief.
Oh no,
to
it did.
this
It
movie.
did. It did for
And
sure.
therefore, because Hulk doesn't like taking the stairs, he
Yeah.
ruins the plan to get the Tesseract,
Yeah.
and it's just really funny though. It is a silly way of, losing that Tesseract, but
Yeah.
it really was actually
Then it
funny.
brings closure to. I guess they did it for a reason. It brings closure
They
between
did.
Tony and his dad, and then everything else. so.
everything
Yeah.
else, right?
Yeah.
So he plays a huge part in the story. But let's skip on ahead to a couple other characters who have kind of a shared history, and they obviously they're a big part in this movie. Let's talk about Hawkeye and Black Widow. George, you want to take that?
Hawkeye, man, he took it rough when his family
Really did.
disappeared, and he that first the opening scene was just brutal. He's just looking around. He's has no idea what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
The
then-
snap took him.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I thought when I saw that when the snap took his family? I'm
What?
like, oh, Disney going dark for this movie. Okay,
I didn't think that.
I didn't know there was another level of dark.
Yeah,
Dark. Okay.
No, the level dark was when they chopped his head off. I was like, whoa.
Oh yeah, that really was.
That was dark.
Yeah.
But
I thought
didn't-
they just disappeared because the kids wanted mayonnaise on their hot dogs. And it's like
I know you're a
like
huge fan
Thanos
of mayonnaise.
deserved to take them away. You don't put mayonnaise on a hot dog. You don't put mayonnaise on anything. by the
Mustard
way.
only?
Mustard,
Huge
just
fan
mustard.
of mayonnaise over
Don't
here.
like mayo.
No,
Hold the mayo always, always.
But
Sorry,
I think
go
it
ahead.
was, I think it was crazy to see how his character turned and how dark, he turned into Ronin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ronin.
When he was just murdering all the bad people.
He murdered the
Yeah.
cartel.
Cartels, the Yakuza, all those
Yakuza,
people.
He has a really cool haircut though. Like he takes off his hood and it's like he's,
Frank Castle would have been proud.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
the
true.
level of murder that was going
Yeah,
on with him.
did you know one of the Yakuza mob bosses was the guy from It Man? Have you ever seen that movie?
I
think it was in-
saw.
it was in the third one.
Yeah, I remember you told me that.
Yeah,
I do, yeah.
it was.
He messed
I was
up,
like,
yeah.
damn, that's cool.
Well, I think the Yakuza that I'm gonna call him Jeremy Renner. That's his real name. Is fighting. He was in 47 Ronin. He was one of the samurai
Which is
in
funny,
47 Ronin. So I think it's just kind of interesting. That's just sidebar. But yes, we do see Hawkeye go rogue. He's killing all these people for whatever reason.
That's his way of grieving, I guess.
Yeah,
Until
and
Natasha finds him.
Natasha
Yeah.
finds him, and they've always had this connection of, because I think, Frank, and you're, correct me if I'm wrong, Hawkeye was sent to
Yes.
kill Natasha at
Yeah.
some point.
Yeah, Shield. Yeah, so Romanoff was a double agent. She was working with Russia and working with other countries. Shield. She was on Shield's radar in a bad way. Shield sent Barton to kill her because she was infiltrating all these different countries and all these different missions. But when Barton came across her, he made a different call. And Romanoff talks about that to Loki in Avengers 1 while Loki's in prison. Loki's like, all these millions of lives out there, and you want Barton for one man, and she kind of tells him why she wants to do it because Barton gave her a second chance at life.
Right.
And I think, fast forward to this movie, she's so quick to sacrifice for Barton because Barton sacrificed and made a good call to keep her alive and to not kill her.
Yeah.
So
Let's
Yeah.
get to that sacrifice. It's Vormir, right?
yeah,
Vormir.
Yeah.
The Red Skull. He's got it's the Soul Stone.
Yeah. Mhm.
Right. You want to? George, you want it?
What?
Or,
Go ahead.
Well, so let's just make it known. Black Widow, because of what you just said, she wants to bring everybody back. She
Yeah.
feels it's her mission to do so, and kind of like Tony has to make the ultimate sacrifice for the greater good of everyone else. And
Yeah.
so when they're in Vormir, she and Hawkeye have this debate on who's going to be the one to sacrifice himself to acquire the Soul Stone, and he has a family, and she's hoping that everything will come back in time, and it's just a no-brainer. But did you guys feel that at this point, you're starting to care about characters you really didn't care about before.
These two I didn't really care about.
I've always cared about Scarlett Johansson. I don't know about y'all.
Wow.
I mean,
No.
that's
But
boo right
that's
there.
right.
But whenever they're fighting to determined to who is going to save the other person by
Yeah.
killing themselves. It's a
Yeah.
very emotional scene. Like that got me the first time because,
Yeah.
like I said, these two characters, they didn't really mean a lot to me. You know,
Right.
I like Hulk, I like Thor, I like Spider-Man, I like Cap, but like Iron Man, but I didn't have any attachment to either one of them. And then
I'm gonna be honest. When I was on the internet and I saw a comment, it showed me who died, and she was on there, and I was like, oh, okay, I don't really care. But then, as watching the scene and seeing why they were doing it and how it happened, I was like, okay, yeah, that was kind of
only get on the internet to look at our content. Hashtag Watcher's Basement. Hashtag Watcher's Basement. Just look that up.
A lot of spoilers out there, but
Yeah.
yeah. At least we tag our spoilers.
say
and
spoilers.
We let
We do
you
say
know.
spoilers.
So
Yeah, but I thought at that point, because I was actually very concerned that Hawkeye was actually going to be the one to jump and then fall. And I thought at that point, maybe their unannounced affection for each other was actually going to come out. I was expecting that. I feel like there's more of a connection between the two of them. I know he's married, has a family, and what have you,
Yeah.
but I felt like there was more of a connection between the two of them.
So she was the ultimate side chick. You trying to say?
Sure.
Okay.
I think they definitely have a history. I think we're gonna find they're supposedly doing a Black Widow movie.
Yeah.
It's like an
And so
origin.
I think we'll
find
have
out
more of
about
a understanding about.
I want to
that.
know what happened in Budapest. They always talk
Yeah.
about
They reference
Budapest.
that.
Well, what's interesting in the comic books, they actually are a couple in the comic books. In the first run of Avengers comics,
Okay.
they're actually a couple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes
Frank's
a lot
our,
of sense.
Frank's our comics expert.
Oh, I'm a
He
comic
knows
nerd.
everything.
Yeah, go back to Age of Ultron. You see the connection that Romanoff has, not with just Barton, but with Barton's family, like the little girl, the kids.
The baby was supposed to be named
Yeah,
after her.
after Natasha. So like you see the connection. I think Romanoff was like, you know what? You sacrificed for me. Now let me sacrifice for you. There can't be a world without a Hawkeye. You know what I'm saying? Especially with her, because he had so much to lose. Because Natasha can't have kids. You know,
Yeah.
No,
after,
you're right.
after the Red Room thing,
Yeah.
her Avengers family. Where's her family?
That's her family.
You know what I'm saying?
And
So
she was at peace with.
Yeah.
I mean, she wasn't upset about it. She told him it's okay.
Yeah.
Let me go. And then she pushes off.
Yeah, we lose her, and the Avengers are super bummed out.
Yeah.
Whenever they all find out, they all want.
Bruce
to
was
bring her back.
really
Yeah.
taken aback by it.
They're all pretty devastated.
He really was.
life's not fair, man. Like I lost Mr. Sunday and Scarlett Johansson in a 10-day span. Like
Right.
life's not fair, bro.
Can I just point out that I watched Endgame the same day that I watched the Battle of Winterfell. That's an emotional
How,
day.
how did you not miss work the next day? Like I would have been a basket case.
Yeah.
It
It was also your birthday too.
was also my birthday, but
Yeah.
that's just a minor thing. But I definitely cared more about these two characters than I did before.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a couple other kind of minor characters. Frank, they play major roles in the movie. Let's talk about Nebula and War Machine. I know you got some thoughts on that.
Yeah. So Nebula's one of the she was a minor character in Guardians of the Galaxy. She was a villain. She kind of does a turn to being a hero after Guardians 2, and we find out the Avengers find out that's Thanos' daughter. So she plays a major key because when she goes back in time, she tells the Avengers how to get the Soul Stone, where the Soul Stone's at. She tells them where the Power Stone's at, and on I can't remember the name of that planet, but she played a Morag. Okay, she played a major role in finding those two stones. She also played a major role in Thanos finding out as well. Her being pretty much a droid.
Not her fault.
Not really her fault.
Not her fault at all, but like with her being an android, I think her mind synced up to the future Nebula, and I was able to unveil all the plans for Thanos to attack. But her MVP status, man, was be able to locate those two stones because they had no idea where those stones were even at. So if it wasn't for her, they wouldn't have known. Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. I do like the banter not banter so much between her and War Machine when they see Quill and he's dancing and on Morag and War Machine says
he's an idiot.
she says yes.
Yeah.
And even when she encounters Gamora from the past,
Yeah.
and Gamora sees Star-Lord, and she's like, "This is the guy." And it's like, well, it was either him or a tree.
Yeah.
Wow, like Groot is adorable, guys. Like,
Shots at Groot.
shots at Groot.
Baby Groot's adorable. Groot is not.
Yeah, he's stiff.
Kind of worthless.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of the brand of the MCU in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but Nebula definitely had a more of a major role in this movie than in past. And when she had to come face to face with herself and kill herself,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, is she gonna kill herself? Like
threw me off,
literally
too.
herself. I was really
Because
confused.
I thought if she killed herself, then she was
She
gonna
was
erase
gonna
as
die.
well.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
But I think that comes back to the alternate timeline.
yeah,
thing.
I figured.
But she made no mistake. She's gone through a lot. Like as a kid, like and they talk about in Guardians 2, how her and Gamora were always fighting and stuff. And every time she lost to Gamora, Thanos took a human, organic part of her and put him and replaced it with a machine.
Right.
So she was always looking for her father's approval, and you saw that with the 2014 Nebula, how she's like, how it shows that she's about to betray them, and she's like, no, I'm not gonna betray you. I'm looking for your affection and looking for that level of acceptance. It came to a head, and she chose between that and saving her sister Gamora. So, yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So what are y'all's final thoughts about this movie, and what's next?
I think it's amazing. I think it's probably my favorite one. Now that I thought about it.
Do you think
I
it's
really
the
do.
best Marvel movie?
I think it kind of has to be because it encapsulates everything.
Yeah.
Like
I agree.
it's like a greatest hits album
Yeah.
that has new songs that are better than the other hits. Like that doesn't really make sense, but that's what I think. Like it's the perfect ending to this story.
It's a great ending, but I'm gonna be real. I liked Infinity more than this movie.
Really?
Infinity War more than this movie.
Okay.
I thought it was cool. Like it was just awesome. Just seeing the build up and the lead up to all that, everything that happened. Like
It's cool when the bad guys win.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back.
yeah,
Spoiler.
I thought it was great.
That's a spoiler for Frank.
Right.
Frank's not a Star
he's
Wars
not
guy.
much now.
Yeah.
The bad guys won Empire Strikes Back?
Yeah, I do.
Damn, okay. All
Yeah,
right.
they do.
No, you know what? I had doubts about Infinity War because I've never seen a movie with that many heroes in one movie, so I had my doubts. So when they were able to knock that out of the park, I'm like, okay, you did that. How are you gonna be able to not only have all these heroes in the last movie, but tie up 21 other movies in this last movie? And
then you're also, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you're also adding that assembly of women who
Yeah, for
are
sure.
protecting the gauntlet with Captain America,
That's a cool
Captain
scene.
Marvel, excuse
yeah,
me.
it's a great scene.
It's
yeah.
an amazing scene, and Peter is handing the gauntlet over to Captain Marvel and said, "Well, I don't know how you're going to get past him." And then all the women just come out. Don't worry,
yeah.
she's covered.
Yeah.
So freaking cool.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
freaking cool.
But I think it's incredible for them to basically wrap up 21 movies in 3 hours. Like when you think about it, that's
It
over.
flies by though. It's not a
It's
long.
not,
Yeah.
it's not a
Yeah.
long
Yeah.
movie.
No,
But
you
that's
don't.
almost 60 hours
do not
of
feel it.
movies
Right.
and wrapped up storylines in a 3 hour time frame.
Yeah.
And it flowed well. The story building was well. The time thing, like you said, Justin, it's you gotta leave it to just suspended belief. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not really worried about that. All the other things tied up well, and Marvel does a great job of casting guys to different characters, and they will spot on almost every single character in there.
They knock it out of the park
Yeah.
every time, except
Yeah.
for maybe Captain Marvel, but she has a role in this movie too.
Yeah, she does.
George, do you have like an MVP that maybe we're not thinking of? Like we mentioned all these big time characters.
Yeah.
Someone that
The
we
only MVP I could see is the rat that brought back Scott Lang, Ant-Man. Because if it wasn't for that rat, like
Yeah.
the chances, because Doctor Strange predicted this would only happen
Yep.
in one timeline.
For
So
sure.
14 million timelines, it was that rat that got the
That-
real MVP of
the
this
rat is the
movie.
MVP.
Thank you, rats, to all over the world. We appreciate you.
Gross. No, I don't thank you.
Sorry, Brittany, you were giving your thoughts on the movie. What was your overall thoughts on the movie?
It was incredible. You guys have all said it. It was incredible. I absolutely have to talk about the end credits really quickly because Marvel is so good at doing montages with the end and how we see kind of secondary Avengers, I like to call them, and their kind of spotlight. But then we get to the main Avengers and how you see the actors' autographs on their silhouette.
God, that was emotional.
It was so good. It was so good. And then Robert Downey, of course, at the very end, he started this whole universe and ended it. And then at the very end, post credits, you hear the hammering, and that's just a nod to Tony building Iron Man.
Right.
And it's just
It's incredible.
it's incredible. I'm so sad that it's over, but I can't wait to see what Disney is going to come up with.
And Tony has such a great quote at the end where he says, "Part of the journey is the end."
It is.
Yeah.
And what an epic ending it was for
It was so good.
22 movies to wrap up with this.
That was great.
Tremendous saga. The MCU just killed it. We loved it. Go see Avengers Endgame. I'm sure you've already seen it. Go see it again.
Yeah.
And
I have to watch it again.
So good.
we're probably going to see it again. I want to see it again.
Hell yeah.
It's that good.
gonna
He
see
wants
it
to
again.
see it.
And we're going to be back talking about more MCU stuff. We got Spider-Man coming up. We may do like a MCU rankings. We're going to rank all the movies this summer.
Ooh.
So look for that. And
That'd be
guys,
fun.
honestly, we talk about the show for 3 hours. We could, but we got to go.
Yeah.
Great show. It's tough to end this. How I don't know how to end this show. Do you have an idea? How do you know how to end this show? I mean,
You're good.
I don't know.
do you?
I do.
know.
Oh, Brittany.
No.
Don't do it.
Don't
no,
do it.
Brittany,
No,
no.
That's one way to end it.
Throw it in my hand. Throw it away.
Sorry, let me try again. Not worthy. One more. Third time strong. That should have been it.